Hello guys, welcome to another video. On Wednesday we have some class tuning incoming, so let's have a look at them. For Death Knight Blood, all damage increased by 6% and Bone Shield armor increased by 10%. So we get some more physical damage, survivability, and a 6% damage buff, which is not crazy much, but nice to see. I mean, if you play Sand Lane, this buff is applied to that strike before it gets reduced by 35%, so it's not gonna be a crazy much difference, but still nice to see some buff. Druid Balance, all damage increased by 5%, does not affect PvP combat. Ornaments of the Mother Edge 2-piece set bonus, Starfire damage increased by 15%, was 20%, does not affect PvP combat. Elun's Chosen Boneless Moonlight's Fury of Elun Flash damage reduced by 10%, does not affect PvP combat. Elun's Chosen Minor Moon damage reduced by 10%, does not affect PvP combat. Okay, so all these, nothing affects actually PvP for druids in this section, but we still have the player versus player class changes. So let's see, Augmentation, Command, Squadron, Scale Commander 2-piece Disintegrate damage increased by 10%, and Scale Commander Bombardment's damage increased by 25%. Now for Devastation, they're getting the same buffs, and Deep Breath damage increased by 20%, but does not affect PvP combat. Now for Preservation, Deep Breath damage as well increased by 20%, but does not affect PvP combat. We'll see what the PvP changes say as well. So let's move on for now. Beast Mastery, all damage increased by 4%, does not affect PvP combat. Death Blow updated kill commands, chance to grant Death Blow to Beast Mastery Hunter increased to 20%, was 10%. This is relevant for PvP as well. Dark Ranger, the Beltol's damage bonus increased to 10%, was 6 as well, affecting PvP. And Dark Ranger, Phantom Pain damage share increased to 45%, was 30%. So this is as well affecting PvP, but Dark Ranger Bleak Powder damage increased by 25%. This doesn't affect PvP combat. Now Monk, Mistweaver, Master of Harmony fixed an issue that caused Ancient Teachings healing to not be increased by Coalescence. Okay, Priest Holy, healing increased by 12%, not applied to PvP combat. Halo healing increased by 40%. Now this does affect PvP combat as well. Archon, Empowered Surges increases the healing done by flash heals affected by Surge of Light by 45%, was 30%. This does affect PvP. And for Discipline, Atonement heals for 33% of damage done, was 28%. Now I know this was before 33% as well, then they nerfed it, now they kind of reverse it. And Atonement healing is increased by 100% outside of raid, was 125%. But they're nerfing it here by 25%. Now the big class changes, player versus player changes. So stamina granted from the PvP trinket set bonus increased by 5% for all roles. So everybody is gonna get more stamina. They want to slow down the game a bit, that people don't get one-shotted. I'm fine with that. Frost Death Knight. Shattering blade damage decreased by 50% in PvP combat. Huge nerf. I think Shattering Blade is actually not gonna be worth it to take anymore. Like, I'd rather have the 18% overall damage increase all the time from Razor Eyes than to use this if they nerf it this hard. It's actually doing already only half, like 56% in PvP combat. So another 50%, I don't know, it's gonna increase the damage of your Frost Strike like 28.5%. Which I don't think it's gonna really be worth it to take anymore. But okay, we'll see. But I honestly think I might drop Frostbane and Shattering Blade because of this. And Frost Fever, damage increased by 15% in PvP combat. Well, we get a tiny bit more, like AoE dot damage, nothing special. Druid Pharaoh, all damage increased by 4% in PvP combat. Balanced Druids, Keeper of the Grove, Dream Burst damage reduced by 50% in PvP combat. Enun's Chosen Lunar Calling increases Starfire damage to its primary target by 80%, was 128% in PvP combat. So Balanced Druids are getting a bit really hit with the nerfs, because honestly honestly, they did have huge burst damage. Now, this is probably gonna reduce it. Evoker Preservation. Chronos Flames maximum damage increased from the 4-piece class set, reduced to 325% spell power in PvP combat was 450% spell power. So here we see a 125% nerf to Chrono Flames maximum damage increase from the 4-piece class set bonus. Hunter Survivor. Flanking strike damage decreased by 20% in PvP combat. Mage Arcane. Arcane Harmony now increases the damage of Arcane Barrage by 2% per stack in PvP combat, was 5%. Damn, they're killing Arcane Harmony. I mean, I think this was nerfed like not so long ago, and now they reduce it even further. Crazy. Intuition now increases the damage of Arcane Barrage by 20% in PvP combat, was 50%. Improved Touch of the Magi now causes Nether Flux to increase the damage of your next spell by an additional 10%, was 25%. All damage increased by 6% in PvP combat. Okay. Sunfury Glorious Incandescence now increases the damage of Arcane Barrage by 10%. PvP combat was 20. They are killing Arcane. Sunfury Meteorites damage from Arcane Phoenix reduced by 38% in PvP combat. For Greater Pyroblast from Arcane Phoenix as well by 33%, and for the Arcane Surge from the Phoenix as well by 33%. They are killing Arcane Mage. Holy moly. Frost. Glacial Spike damage increased by 40% in PvP combat. No way, people will not take Glacial Spike now. Damn, that's huge buff. All damage increased by 5% in PvP combat. Wow. So that's like a 45% increased damage to Glacial Spike. That's nuts. You're gonna see more Glacial Spike Frost Mages from Wednesday. Monk Mistweaver. Rushing Wind Kick damage decreased by 50% in PvP combat. Now Rushing Wind Kick did actually do some top damage when I looked at damage meters with Mistweaver or Fistweaver monks. So this is actually a huge nerf, I would say. Pretty huge. Paladin Retribution. Hammer of Light damage decreased by 15% in PvP combat. Ooh, the huge burst nerf. I was in a BG like yesterday or before yesterday, and there were like 6 paladins on the enemy team. Are you freaking nuts? So paladins, I think they will say again bye-bye playing paladins. Hammer of Light does really crazy burst damage, so this will be felt for sure, 15%. Now Disc Priest. Power Word Shield absorption increased by 20% in PvP combat. Oh, the Power Word Shield absorption. That's huge buff, I would say. And Atonement healing increased by 12.5% in PvP combat. Okay, wow. Priest Disc is actually getting some huge buffs. I mean, these are huge in PvP. Power Word Shield and Atonement healing. That's nuts. Yeah, Priest is definitely gonna go up in the ladder for healers. Sub-Rogues. Shadow Blades now causes attacks to deal 5% additional damage as Shadow in PvP combat was 10%. All damage increased by 6% in PvP combat. Okay, so Sub gets a tiny bit nerf here, but they do get overall a 6% buff, so they will not even feel this one here, because it's still gonna be increased by 1% and everything else by 6%, so you see some tiny buff to Sub-Rogues. Shaman Elemental Earthshock damage increased by 15% in PvP combat, and Stormbringer Tempest damage increased by 10% in PvP combat. I don't know how I should feel about this. I mean, Elemental Shamans, some of them, they know to do huge bursts, but some people not really, maybe. So I have mixed feelings here. But overall, I think Shamans are not that crazy terrible. And Warrior Arms, all damage increased by 4% in PvP combat. Are you nuts? I mean, I saw warriors hitting like crazy hard. I think their damage is already pretty huge. I think they more like lack survivability than damage. I think they do crazy pretty good with damage dealing. So, and yeah, that's it pretty much, guys, for the incoming class tuning on the 10th of September. So yeah, I mean, I think like arcane mages, they were crazy strong, both balanced druids. So from that side, I think they sadly had to get nerfed. And Shattering Blade, I honestly wasn't really expecting this for Frost DK, but okay. Discs really got a huge buffs, I would say. This is gonna be really felt in PvP. And Glacial Spike, man. The one shot from the mages incoming, Frost mages, I have a feeling. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful weekend or day. I don't know when you're gonna watch this video. Bye bye.
Beneath the ice and snow, a legend awakens. I am Arthas, the Lich King ruler of the damned master of Frostmourne.